Tonight, Fox Undercover investigating disturbing allegations of sexual harassment in a city of Boston workplace.
A woman claims she was subjected to crude comments and really much worse by her boss for more than a year. As investigative reporter Mike Beaudet reveals, this is just the latest in a string of problems for this woman's supervisor.
The woman still works for the Boston Public Health Commission, the city's health department. She says she first reported the man who ultimately became her boss in 2009, but that the sexual harassment continued. Now she's filed a discrimination complaint against the city and says she's coming forward to send a message to the city that sexual harassment cannot be tolerated.
I felt humiliated, degraded, and it was just a very stressful and hostile environment to work in.
This woman still works for the city of Boston and agreed to talk to Fox Undercover if we hid her identity. She's filed a discrimination complaint against the city, saying it allowed a sexually hostile work environment and retaliated against her after she complained about it.
People who harass should be held accountable, and there shouldn't be a culture of silence or shame involved in reporting anything.
This is the woman's former boss, Long Island Shelter kitchen manager John Fell, who she says sexually harassed her at her job in the kitchen. What types of things would he say to you?
Very direct sexual comments, just about my body and what he wanted to do, and so it was very direct comments.
Many of those comments allegedly said by Fell and detailed in this complaint are so graphic we can't show them to you uncensored. The tamer ones include, what type of panties are you wearing? You want me to come over and show you a good time? Do you ever have sex just to have sex? And you're my friend, but you really have nice breasts. The woman says she complained about Fell to a supervisor.
They talked to him, and the comments started shortly again after that. So it almost seemed like he was untouchable. Like he would say, you know, I don't care if somebody writes me up, nothing's going to happen.
The woman ended up taking a new job in which Fell became her direct supervisor. Why would you take a job like that?
Well, it was a really good job opportunity. It was more money. It was a promotion, and I thought at the time, since I was going to be part of the staff and part of the crew, that at least the comments would subside.
Did they stop?
No, they didn't. They got worse.
The woman says Fell gestured to himself and said, "Come sit on Johnny," and on another day poked her breast and walked out of the elevator. She complained to a supervisor again in July 2010 and says Fell told her, "You're not going to be working here soon." Should the city have taken this more seriously in 2009?
Absolutely, they should have taken it more seriously. They should have disciplined him, or at the very least kept a close eye on him to make sure that he didn't continue with this behavior.
Michael Tumposky is the woman's attorney.
He was allowed to essentially run wild, whether it be with the conduct in this case or some of the other problems that were going on.
Those other problems include information revealed in a Fox Undercover investigation back in February. Fell worked for the city for 16 years, but was fired from his job as the shelter's kitchen manager after thousands of dollars of food and cash were stolen from the kitchen. Fell has faced allegations of sexual harassment before. There's a pending case before the Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination filed by another woman who worked at the shelter. And yet another case from when Fell worked as a cook at MIT in the early 1990s. A gay male employee says Fell and another employee harassed him through name-calling and sexually suggestive gestures. According to court records, Fell was reprimanded for his behavior. Do you think the city should have known about that incident?
Well, it was a long time ago. However, I know that a simple web search with his name and the name of his prior employer would have uncovered this particular incident. A phone call would have uncovered this particular incident.
The Boston Public Health Commission sent this letter to the woman before the complaint was filed, acknowledging that after an internal investigation, it was determined that Mr. Fell did violate the commission's sexual harassment policy. Dr. Barbara Ferrer is the commission's executive director. She declined to comment, but earlier this year talked about Fell's conduct in the shelter kitchen thefts that resulted in him losing his job.
Under his very poor leadership and poor management, he allowed and tolerated, and in fact, I think created a culture that is unacceptable.
We are hearing from the accused, John Fell. In a series of emails, he called his accuser vindictive and says she's making the allegations because she couldn't do her job. As for the other woman with a pending sexual harassment case against Fell, he says she lied to try and save her job. We also asked him about the allegations of sexual harassment at MIT. Fell says it was just a joke that was taken out of context, calling it no big deal. By the way, the woman who talked to us transferred out of the kitchen, but now that Fell is gone, she wants her old job back.